Hey folks, welcome to Fyreflye's Follies. I hope that you enjoy the video today. If you do, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. It really does help my channel out, and if you have not subscribed yet, I hope that you will and that you'll stick around for a while. So today I am going to be making and canning some Philly style sloppy joe mix. And what I have done so far is I browned and drained 2 pounds of ground beef. And I have thawed, I would prefer to can fresh, but I didn't have any. I thawed some of the peppers and onions that I grilled this summer, and I've chopped them up pretty small. And then I had about a half a jar of mushrooms left over from earlier in the week, and I've chopped those up as well. So I've got roughly 2 cups of vegetables that they're just red, yellow, and orange bell peppers and red onions that I grilled. So, and then the mushrooms. And I have a cup of beef broth, some Clear Jel, some steak sauce, and some Worcestershire sauce. And that is all that we are going to do. But I am going to transfer this into a different pan because I don't think that this skillet is going to be, it might be. Yeah, we'll try. If we need to, we can transfer it to another pan. So I'm going to start by just adding my vegetables into my ground beef, and I'm going to let this come up to temperature so that it's nice and warm. And if you like more vegetables in your Philly beef, then use more vegetables. If you don't like mushrooms, don't use mushrooms. It's your food. Do it the way you want to do it. This is what I like in my Philly beef sandwiches, so this is what I put in my Philly style sloppy joe mix. And since this is what I'm having for dinner tonight, I decided I would just make a big batch and can some, so the next time I decide I want some, I can just pull a jar down and heat it. Now, if you're just cooking this for dinner and you're not going to be canning it, when you get everything heated up and your gravy made, then you can just put your provolone cheese or your mozzarella cheese in it, let it melt, and put it on buns. When I can it, I pour it out of the jar into a container, I heat it up, I put it on a bun, and then I put a slice of provolone on top of it and stick it under the broiler. And these are just really, really good. Alright, so while that continues to heat up a bit, I'm going to go ahead and get this ready. Now, to my cup of beef broth, I'm going to add, and I'm hoping I did the math on this right, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of Clear Jel, and I'm going to whisk that together until it's nice and smooth. Normally when I make these, I use cornstarch just to thicken it, or flour if I don't happen to have cornstarch handy. But you just want to make sure that it's all whisked in nice and smooth, no lumps. And I'm going to go ahead and add my steak sauce and my Worcestershire sauce to this. That is such a hard thing to say. Oh, garlic. I forgot my garlic. So I also want about 2 cloves of garlic, or about a tablespoon of minced garlic, and I'm just using the jarred garlic because that's what I have. So we're going to call that 2 cloves, and if it's more, that's not a bad thing in my world. And if you don't like garlic, leave it out. Now, when I was a kid, I loved the Manwich style sloppy joes. As an adult, I have found that I'm not such a big fan of them. I don't know why. As an adult, I have found that I don't like a lot of tomato-based products. And that might be part of the reason. Alright, so while that's coming up, I'm going to go ahead and finish my liquids. Now I'm going to do roughly 2 to 2.5 tablespoons of steak sauce. And this is the A1 style steak sauce. It doesn't matter what brand you use. So about 2.5 tablespoons. And then about a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. And I'm just going to whisk this all up together. And I have my jars in the dishwasher. They're heated and they're ready. Alright, now I'm just going to add my liquid and my clear gel. And I'm going to let it simmer for a couple of minutes until it thickens to make a bit of a gravy in it. Boy, that barely held it. I'm making a mess. Be a mess to clean up. Alright, so I'm going to let that simmer for just a couple of minutes and I'm going to get my jars ready. And we'll come back and fill some jars. Alright, I got my jars ready and my Sloppy Joe sauce thickened up nicely. So I'm going to get it into jars. Now, I have my canner over here and it's warm. It's just sitting on low, warm, waiting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill my jars to a 1-inch headspace. I'm going to debubble them, wipe the rims, put the lids and rings on. The rings will just go on fingertip tight. And I'm going to put these in the canner. I'll bring it up to steam and vent it for 10 minutes. And in 10 minutes, after it vents for 10 minutes, I will process these for 75 minutes. Now, pints and half pints are 75 minutes for meat. If you're doing this in quarts, you need to do 90 minutes at the correct pressure for your altitude. So let's see if I can do this without making too much of a mess. Working out of a really full skillet, so we'll see how it works out. And I really think I'm only going to get 4 or 5. I did take some out for dinner later tonight. And like I said, you can make these to suit your own taste. If you like more peppers and onions, or if you don't like red peppers and you only like green peppers in your Philly steaks, then make it that way. If you don't like the mushrooms, leave them out. If you don't like garlic, leave it out. These can be adjusted to suit your preference, which is great. And y'all, this is how I end up with a lot of my meal in a jar recipes. Is I decide I'm having something for dinner, and I decide to make a double or triple batch so that I can can some. And then the next time I decide that I'm having it for dinner, I don't have to cook it. It's ready. And on the days that I work 12 or 14 hours, having it ready is very important. Alright, so some of these I'm probably going to have to adjust a little bit. So I'm just going to debubble. I'm going to take a little bit out of that one and add it to this one. All right, that looks pretty good. So now I just have paper towel. I really prefer to use like a flour sack kitchen towel, but I don't have any clean. And just plain white vinegar. And I'm going to clean the rims. And doing this serves two purposes. Now when I get my jars ready, I check to make sure that there are no nicks or bumps or anything that would interfere with the seal. This gives me a second pass. That's warm. This gives me a second chance to make sure nothing happened while they were washing. Didn't bump together or anything. And it cleans anything off the rim that would interfere with the seal. Right. So now lids and rings, fingertip tight. I'm going to get these in the canner. And like I said before, I'm going to bring it up to steam and I'm going to vent for 10 minutes. And then I will process these half pints for 75 minutes. Once that 75 minutes is up, I'll turn the heat off and I'll let them come down off of pressure naturally. And once they're down off of pressure, I will bring you back and show you how they turned out. Alright, so I brought it up to pressure and I processed it for 75 minutes for meat times. And once it was done, I shut it off and I let it come down off pressure. And I took the lid off and I set it to the side and then I went ahead and took it off. They've been sitting for about 15 minutes and I think I've heard them all seal. But let's go ahead and get them out and see how it looks. It is absolutely beautiful. It's just beef and gravy with some peppers and mushrooms. A little Worcestershire sauce and A1 for flavor. And when I get ready to have this, I will just open the jar, heat up the contents, pour it over sometimes toast, usually a hamburger bun. Stick provolone cheese on it, stick it under the broiler for a minute, and it is my version of Philly style sloppy joes. They turned out beautifully. Now, I will leave these sitting for probably at least 12 hours. Sometime tomorrow morning, I will take off the rings and I will wash the jars and label them and I will put them in my pantry and I'll have this on the shelf ready to eat anytime I want it. And when I get ready to eat it, all I have to do is heat it up, pour it over some toast or a hamburger bun, put some provolone cheese or some mozzarella cheese on top of it. I like it with provolone, that's my personal preference. Stick it under the broiler for a couple of minutes and I have dinner ready to go. I really hope that you enjoyed the video today. If you did, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up. It really does help my channel out. And if you have not subscribed, I hope that you will and that you'll stick around. If you hit the notification bell, YouTube will notify you when I upload a new video based on your settings. Y'all, thank you so much for watching today. Y'all have a great day.